Hi, I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings, and today is a snowy, breezy day, and we are getting our first shipment here of perennials from Walter's Gardens. So they come in this beautiful truck, and I think this truck just gives so much inspiration of what's to come this coming spring. All these beautiful perennials, so bright and cheery here on this really quite bland landscape right now. So with this first shipment, we are getting in our proven winter perennials along with several other varieties that we carry from Walter's Gardens. So although we do talk about proven winter perennials a lot, those are not the only perennials we carry. We have a huge selection of perennials on our website where they can be ordered and shipped directly to your door. So if this is the first time you're watching a video here from me at Garden Crossings, we are a mail order company. We grow all of our own plants and we ship them out across the United States, as well as having our retail garden center located here in Zeeland, Michigan. So we're going to head inside, take a look at some of the plants that are being delivered today, and try to wipe the tears off my eyes from this cold wind that's going on right now. So let's go ahead inside and take a look at what we're being delivered today. So I came inside to a warmer location right now, and this wind out there is just really bitter cold. And we have Jen with us today, who is our inventory manager, and we're going to be asking her a few questions on the shipment we received today and just our perennials and plants in general, because she's the one that every plant that comes into this place, she's doing a lot of work behind bringing them in. So let's go ahead and talk with Jen.
Hi, I'm Jen. I'm the inventory manager here at Garden Crossings, and today we are receiving our first truckload of perennials from Walter's Gardens. The driver's going to go back and get another load after this. We have 11 pallets in this first load, and overall this week we'll be getting over 66,000 plugs or bare root plants. There's different size plants that we start with and plant them into our quart pots for all the different perennials. They'll be coming from 16 different suppliers this week, so it is a lot for us to keep track of and get organized. But we will be planting those maybe starting this afternoon through this week and next week. We also planted some perennials over the summer and into the fall for some different plants that will take longer to get rooted, or they may like the warmer weather. So we have some left from last year already out in our greenhouses, and then we'll be working on all of these plants this week. So this rack behind me is all Sweet Romance lavender. This is one of our higher quantity plants that we do, and we actually will be planting this over 3 different rounds. We'll hold some of these for a month or 2 months, and we'll plant them later so that they'll be ready at different times. Most of these we will plant once, but like I said, the larger quantity of varieties that we sell a lot of, we will plant more than once. We plant more than once to have them ready at different times, so that depending on when orders are set to ship out, we will start with the ones that are ready first, and then the ones that ship out later on, we'll get the plants that are ready later. It saves us time in the greenhouse so that we don't have to trim as much, and the plants are always looking nice and not overgrown or anything by the time we're ready to ship them out. So Carter is unloading still here for us, and as soon as we get all of these racks in, we'll be taking them all off, organizing the plants by varieties and also by what greenhouse they're going to end up in later on. You may have seen in other videos where we were stickering all of our pots. We have those all organized in the order that we want to plant them by what greenhouse they're going to go in. So whether it is a plant that likes warmer temperatures or cooler temperatures, we have different greenhouses. So all of our carts are organized and labeled so that they are easy for everyone to see where they need to go. And we'll be flat filling the pots soon, and then we'll go right on to planting.
One truckload has now been unloaded. He's going to head down to Walter's, which is about 3-4 miles down the road, refill this truck up and bring it back to us. That is one beautiful thing about being so close to Walter's Gardens, is that to get the plants here to us, it doesn't take much time. About a 10-minute drive, and they're back. So we will be waiting for them to come back. I think the next load is going to have some more plugs along with probably some bare root product. So we'll wait for him to head back and get loaded back up and be back delivering to us again here shortly. While we're waiting for our next load of plants to come in, the team is busy doing various things right now. So as Jen had mentioned earlier, she is going to start inventorying all these perennials that came in to make sure we got the quantities and the varieties that we had on order. So she'll have a whole nother load coming here in just a minute that she'll be also needing to go through, but this is going to take them quite a while to make sure that the counts are all correct. So what some of the other team is doing right now is they are going through our quartz shrubs. Now that it's cold, they're starting to go dormant and fall asleep. So they're trimming them if they need to be trimmed, removing any dead leaves or leaves that have fallen off now that it's dormant, and just getting them kind of cleaned up and put to sleep here for the winter. The nice thing is when we're out here looking at these plants, there are a few rogue flowers, so that's always fun to see. We've got some quince that are a little bit confused about the time of year. Double take peach there, really pretty. And also there's a little white one over there blooming. So we do get a few little flowerful surprises now and then when we are out in the greenhouses, even in the winter time. Here are some of the pots that we have all stickered and ready to head over to the flat filling machine. So every pot in the greenhouse has a unique barcode label to that specific plant. So it tells us when the plant was planted, as far as which week it was planted. If it's going in a hot or cold greenhouse, it has obviously the variety name on it. And as Jen had mentioned earlier in the video, she had said that sometimes we'll do 3 different rounds of planting the same thing. So if we do that, each round gets a unique number assigned to it so that we know in which week that particular plant was planted. So we've kind of changed the layout this year with how things are working. So hopefully it makes a little bit more sense and is more efficient. Efficiency is always what we're looking for there. So here is the flat filling machine. It is all set up and ready. I think the girls ran a few trays through earlier today because they're going to be planting up just a few of our hen and chicks. So they got those pots all filled with soil and are ready. So this is one of the planting machines. We do have a second one as well. This is our older one. And this one we only fire up during weeks when the original, or not the original one, but the new one there can't keep up. So this one we don't have all the conveyor systems for like we do with our new one, but this definitely does get the job done when we need to really ramp up the flat filling weeks. The soil is all ready here too. There's several bags of soil just all over the greenhouses because I don't even know how many semi-loads we got this year, but there's just various bags of soil just everywhere. And it's hard to believe that this much soil is what's needed for all of the plants that we grow here at Garden Crossings. We're walking past a greenhouse right now that's got some shrubs in it, so I'll just turn in and let you see. This is a coal frame. You can see the snow is sitting up there on top of it. And it's very cold in this greenhouse right now. We want these plants to go dormant. It's winter. They're supposed to be sleeping. These are a lot of evergreen varieties, so that's why you're seeing a lot of green right now in this greenhouse. These are not going to lose their leaves, but they are sleeping right now and are not actively growing. So we ran out of carts earlier in the day, so they had to unload some of these already stickered pots out in the garden center area to get more shipping carts so that they could keep stickering all the pots for this week's plants that came in. So this machine here, as I mentioned before, is a huge time saver. Before we used to manually put stickers on every pot by hand, and we'd just take a box of pots home at night and bring them back the next day. Well, obviously now we have way too many plants that we grow, so that would never even be feasible to do that anymore. So we got this machine. I believe this is our second, maybe our third year of using it, and this machine paid for itself in the first year. Also, it's a more enjoyable way of getting all these pots stickered as well. So Emily there, she's putting all the pots on the conveyor belt. It runs through this little area here, which applies a sticker to every pot that passes by it. There's a little sweeper brush there that kind of secures the sticker to the pot. And then when they get to the end down there, as she's picking up the pots, she's putting her thumb on every sticker just to make sure that it is secured and in place. So they're doing counting right now as they are unloading these pots off the belt. So we are not going to talk to them because we do not want to mess up their count and where they're at. Definitely a fast-paced job that you have to stay on top of what's coming at you and with what you're putting on the belt. As I'm heading out to see the first of the planting, there is just shipping carts with empty pots just everywhere out in the greenhouses. So these here are, they're just waiting to get filled with soil and then planted up here shortly. These are all, I think, all perennials. So because these are just a few varieties that came in earlier in the day, they're just kind of doing them by hand. They don't have the conveyor belts or anything set up because they'll be able to get these done pretty quickly, just the two of them. These are actually chick charms, the hen and chicks. And these go in a 3.5-inch container, so a little bit smaller container than our regular quart-sized containers. And these are just a generic, so they go in a nice black pot. So how the girls are doing this is they're just knocking all the plants out of the plug trays. And you can see when they come in, they're really a beautiful, I think this is gold nugget actually. Is this gold nugget? Yep. Let's look at that beautiful coloration of gold nugget. That one always looks really pretty when the weather is cooler out. So they're just poking holes in the soil and sticking the plants on in. Once they get them all plugged in, they set them down on the ground, get the tags in them, and they'll just sit here and grow. We'll turn the temperature up now that the plants are all getting planted. The temperature will get turned up ever so slightly as we acclimate them and start to wake some of these plants up for spring. So that might not happen for another few weeks or so once we get everything planted, but for now, it's the start of the 2024 planting season, so it's exciting just to see all that's going on. It has been a busy 24 hours here at Garden Crossing. So yesterday we got a huge shipment of perennials in from Walter's Gardens, and today we've been having trucks come all day long from various vendors. I think Jen said it was 16 different companies that was going to be dropping off plants, and constantly we're having delivery trucks delivering plants today. So it's just been crazy around here, but the team has been able to get out in the greenhouses and the planting has begun. So we're going to go look at the various different stations that the team is planting at. We'll show you some flat filling. I don't think the stickering, I think the stickering was all done yesterday, so they're pretty much all playing in the dirt today. So let's go ahead and take a look. So here we have Jess and Lucy, and they're kind of in our overflow potting area. They're in the garden center at our spot to pot, which this is an area usually the customers will come and plant up their containers at, but because it holds soil and it's another space, we're using it. And right now what they're doing is they are planting bare root plants. So I believe it looks like, are you guys planting phlox? Yes. So the prismatic pink phlox, which is a new variety for this year. And when they come in, I'm going to go ahead and just dig in the box here and show you what they look like. So this here is what's considered a bare root plant. This was grown out in the field, and you can see all the roots are on it. These are a little bit harder to plant. We can't just plug them in the soil. They have to be a little bit more strategic when they're planting these bare root plants. So they're a little bit more time consuming. But this also is one of the first things we want to get planted because we don't want the plants just sitting in the box for any longer than what they need to. Where plugs can stay in the plug tray, and we can keep watering them for a week or two if need be. But the plugs, that are in bare root form, or I guess they're not plugs, the bare root plants, they need to get planted right away. So this is one area that the girls are planting, and we're gonna go head out back and see what else is going on back there. Here's Jen, so many boxes. She's been unloading boxes all day long. So is this all the plants that are coming in, or are you still waiting for more?
We still have more.
More?
We have a whole truck next week coming from Swift, and we have a couple more places hopefully coming tomorrow. I kind of lost track a little bit. I'll have to review the list.
Oh, she's in charge of inventory, so she'll know what's coming or going, but she said there's a lot more coming yet. So let's go take a look at what we got so far. So as the plants come in, they're getting unboxed if they come in on boxes, or sometimes they come in here on these wooden racks. So there's kind of just things everywhere right now. She has them all laid down kind of in the order of what they're going to be planting them. So let's go take a look at some of what has come in so far. So this greenhouse here is pretty much filled from front to back with perennial plugs. So these are plants that are, actually let's go ahead and take a look because there's various sizes. So these are plants that are planted in soil. They come in a lot of different sizes. So this is actually a pretty big plug. This is grass. A lot of times the grass is coming a little bit bigger size. Let's move across the way here. We've got some lavender, a little bit smaller plug there. Some lupin, more grasses, some salvia, some delphinium, phlox. I'm just seeing all kinds of things. And this, it's just so, I don't know, it's so amazing that these plants, they come in and they're so little, and by the time we're ready to ship them out, they're just big, beautiful, and a lot of times in flower. So here's some that are actually really little. This is a lobelia. So look at the size. That's a really small plug. Sometimes the plug size depends on just what's available for us to get. Other times we'll buy in different size plugs based off of the growth rate of a plant. So if a plant is a slow grower, we're going to typically buy something that's bigger to start with, obviously. But if it's something that grows quickly, we know we can get by with plants that are a little bit smaller. Now, we had just seen them planting some bare root. Sometimes bare root is the only option we get. So, and it does. It depends on the plant. Sometimes the bare root is the best option for certain plant varieties, and other times, like I said, it's what's available. So that's what we take. So wow, so much work ahead of the team. But let's go ahead and take a look to see what they are doing. It's time for another bag of soil. So Ben is going to go ahead and refill the flat filling machine. I wondered why it wasn't moving, but then I looked in the hopper and I noticed it was empty. So he's been running back and forth between our head house, which we're in right now, and our barn out back. The team out back is planting bare root at two different flat filling type of machines. So he's constantly just back and forth all day today, keeping them supplied with, I said dirt, I guess I should technically call it soil. So this is kind of fun to watch. He cuts these big bales. These are 60 cubic foot bags of soil, and he cuts the bottom of them, and the weight will just kind of let the soil drop into the hopper. It's kind of fun to watch. I'm standing back for a reason. I don't want to get poofed with soil in the face. He's laughing because he just got his poof of soil. This flat filling machine has been a huge time saver for us. In the past, we had another one that was almost identical to this, and it took about 3 or 4 people to run. Last year, we bought a bunch of conveyor belts and figured out that with this piece of machinery and conveyor belts, we were able to do the same job with just one person. So she's definitely moving all day long, keeping the belts supplied with the empty pots, and then emptying the filled up pots off onto the shipping carts. But it's always nice when you can find areas that you can create some efficiency in what you're doing. All right, now that the soil has been refilled, the machine is fired back up again. So on the back conveyor system, that's where she's laying the empty pots, and they just kind of roll down the track. And we're going to head to the back of the machine to show you what it does at the back end. But in the meantime, we'll just show you here. So as they take the turn on the back, they are spit out the front here. There is a brush in there, a couple different brushes. And what that does is it packs the soil into the proper density, I guess is a good word we can say, that we want for planting. And then the brush kind of brushes them smooth so that it's got a nice smooth top. So we like it so it's just nice enough that you can stick your finger in to do planting without having too much resistance on the soil. We always like to have our pots filled to the very top, and when we water them in, we want to make sure that when we are doing this, that the soil is tight enough that it's not going to settle in the pot and have a big gap at the top. So it's important to us that the pots are pretty much filled to the top with soil at all times in the planting and growing process. These are little blowers. The gray things that you're seeing, they're blowing the soil off the pots just so that it's cleaner when they head out to the greenhouse. You can see some of the soil's falling off, but then the little remnants there are getting blown off. So let's go ahead and take a walk here to the back of this machine so you can see kind of what's going on at the back end. Like I mentioned, this used to be a 3 or 4 person job, but now that we have all these conveyors in place, it's now a 1 person job. So here's all the empty pots as they're coming down the back stretch, taking a turn, getting rotated and sent through the flat filling hopper. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, maybe we can see inside there a little better. So you can see the soil drops into the pot. Anything that doesn't go into the pot gets recycled back into the original hopper to be used. There's brushes that are kind of going in multiple directions, packing and sweeping any excess off. So it's with the multiple conveyors being used, we have to make sure that they're all kind of set at the right speed, because if one gets bumped and goes to the wrong speed, this whole process can become a real mess. So this is, I think, really the first day Sylvia's been running this machine like non-stop. So we have had to tweak the speeds a little bit because it kind of got offset from sitting around from the summertime. So she's been having to play a little bit around with the speed. Otherwise what happens is these pots, as they're taking that turn there, they'll either fall off or they'll get kind of jammed up in this twisting and turning process. And that's no good, because then she's got to stop the line and get it all kind of re-put back in order again. But right now it looks like it's running pretty smooth, so she's probably found the right setting for where all these conveyors have to be running at. This machine we like to call Fill, because he's filling the pots. Heading back into the greenhouse where it's a little bit warmer here. The gals that are out here are working on planting plugs, and it looks like I've got some various things here, but here is some Bernera. I'll pull one of the, whoop. So that's what the Bernera looks like. Pretty small when you know how big they get as they grow along and are ready to get shipped out. So very fun to just see the size of these little plants. This, I think, is some penstemon. Nice root structure there. It's always what we like to see. So let's go ahead and take a look at the process of the girls that are working out here in this greenhouse. So they've gotten all of this planted so far. These are all perennials. It's so fun. I'm going to actually try to get you seeing all those little tags all lined up. It's even colorful just seeing the tags. So they here are also working on a conveyor belt system. One person's grabbing them off the racks and setting them on the conveyor. She's also the same person that is putting the plants into the pots. And then the next person down the row is putting the tags in and also setting the plants down on the ground. So I'm not sure how Char's back is going to feel by the end of the day. Well, she says it's going good, but maybe they rotate a little bit too. I don't know. I sure would want to if I was a setter downer. But looks like Lana just also joined the team, so this will make it go just a little bit faster. So 2 people planting. Char's still down on that end putting tags in, and I'm sure if one of these girls gets caught up, they're going to run to the end of the line and help tag as well. So this is hand potting of the plugs right out in the greenhouse. They'll move that track down as they continue down the greenhouse, so that way they're not carrying the pots that they're setting down or the trays they're setting down too far. They want it to be kind of right behind them as they're setting down. Less movement is always better. Now I'm heading out to our back barn to see what's going on back here. In the barn there are 2 planting machines, 2 flat filler machines, and on these machines they're actually planting as they're filling the pots. It's all at the same time. So let's go ahead and take a peek. This is where the party's at, man. Look at all these people back here. They're planting bare root out here in the barn. So when the plants come in, we'll have Cindy show us what she's got. So they've got like pretty long roots on them. And for the quart size containers that they're going into, that's just kind of too much roots. So she's going to go ahead and she's trimming them down so that they're more sizable to be planted into these quart size containers. It smells like she's working on allium. Is this allium? You can always tell when allium's in the house. It smells like onion.
Cindy, is this allium?
Oh, quality control just arrived. Oh,
Cindy,
boy.
Is it allium?
Yeah, it
It smells like a roast.
Oh.
Are you cooking?
I am. I'm cutting up the onions right now.
Joy, you got potatoes?
Yep, I do.
It's all about food here, guys.
Now you're making us hungry. So they are having fun. Jen is kind of red because she just dropped the plants on the ground, but that's okay.
This is bare root.
They're forgiving. So yeah, so that's what these guys do. They're prepping these plants so that it's easier for the team that's planting. And they're just having fun. Rod's coming out to harass them, I think. All right, so here we have back-to-back flat fillers or pot fillers or whatever you want to call them. And Rhonda is working on planting the bare root plants. So we'll just kind of watch for a minute. So this machine, it's spitting out the soil, recycles it back into the hopper for what she doesn't use, but it's just constantly coming out. So she puts a little soil in the bottom of the pot, kind of sticks the plant in, and then fills the soil around it, packs it in nice and tight. And then I think she probably has somebody back here that is going to be tagging her pots for her, because she'll stay at the flat filler the whole time planting. So maybe Rod's going to be putting the tags in, but I doubt it. He's just making sure that it's a fine-tuned ship running back here today. Flax Opal Essence looks like what they're currently working on here. Over here we got Madison working away, and well, look, they're both working on Opal Essence. Okay. So hers, I think, have all been pre-trimmed and are ready for her to go. Are you going on to another variety? Yeah. So Sunset Coral Fox is what the box says. So that'll be the next variety that they'll work on. These will all get put on these shipping carts that you see here behind, and they'll get taken out to the greenhouse and laid down and watered in. So all these random little white boxes that you see back here in the barn, these are all filled with bare root perennials. Let's take a look at what we got a little bit. That's a lot of Stand By Me clematis. It's like every pallet is a different variety. Stand By Me pink clematis. It's over here. sunset coral phlox, ultraviolet phlox. Wow. Lots of fun going on. We will be sure to keep you updated on what's going on around here. In addition to all the planting and such that's going on, we've got the building project going on. So we'll give you an update on that shortly because the progress that's being made on that is pretty impressive as well. If you have any questions or comments on anything that you've seen today or just in general, I always love to hear your questions. Also too, if you have suggestions for videos that you'd like to see in the winter, because I feel like the winter it's a little bit hard to come up with beautiful content because the flowers are still sleeping. But if there's something you'd like to hear or have me talk about, just leave that in the comments below as well. And I can work on coming up with some videos to help with the questions that you're asking. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings.